And a furlong and 18 fences, headed by the former Gold Cup winner, number 1, Bregawn, ridden by Graham Bradley. 3 is Drumlargan from Ireland, ridden by Mr. Frank Codd. 4, Fred Pilliner, Peter Scudamore. And 5, the second Irish visitor, Royal Bond, ridden by Tom Taaffe.
Bregawn, being ridden by Graham Bradley, and Jonathan Powell, who's been flitting around like a mad flea, managed to catch hold of him earlier, and this is what he had to say.
Well, Graham, last year Bregawn was the champion 3-mile chaser in the country. This year he's the villain of the piece. What on earth has gone wrong?
I haven't honestly got a clue, Jonathan, to tell you the truth. I was desperately looking forward to riding him again this year, the way he won the Gold Cup and the Hennessy, the way he did and everything. And it's just unexplainable, really. We've been so easy on him. We've never given him a hard race or anything like that. We've never given him a crack. We got him fit and tried to look after him as much as we could. He's always been very temperamental, and it just took us by surprise.
But he's fallen this season, he's refused, and a couple of times he's tried to pull himself up but not refused.
Well, he'd have won that day when he fell at Haydock. I was in front at the second last going very easy, and all I did was just nudge the top, and I lost my legs on landing at Haydock. And everything was going well then, that stage of the season, but just at Wincanton was inexcusable, you know. It was just bad temper, I think, temperamental.
And then, of course, he ran at Market Raise and almost pulled himself up, and he looked as though he tried to stop at Cheltenham once.
That's right. Well, at Market Raise, he was going well, jumping super, pulling my arms out, and as soon as I went to turn down the back, he just put his whole head up in the air and tried to stop. And 2 cracks was enough. He just went on again, and he ran a terrific race that day to give all that weight to Donegal Prince, which would possibly have won at Cheltenham if it had been a bit further. So I was chuffed to bits with his Market Raise and run. But at Cheltenham, we galloped him before Cheltenham in blinkers, and he went very, very well. So we thought we had to put him on. We couldn't take the chance of leaving blinkers off him. And he did exactly the same as he did at Market Raise. And he tried to stop going out for the second circuit on the backside, but instead of, when I gave him a crack, instead of him running on, you know, he just stopped. There's nothing much I could do.
So what do you think will happen today with just 4 runners in the field?
I haven't got a clue, Jonathan. Honestly, I'm just going to go out and see how he goes. Just drop him in behind him, I think, and follow him around in my own time, and just hope he behaves himself. He's been galloping absolutely brilliantly at home. You know, I'm convinced he'd win if he didn't misbehave.
Graham, the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
He was tried in blinkers in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, having pulled himself up at Wincanton, having thought about pulling himself up at Market Rasen. He was tried in blinkers, and he didn't look happy in them from the word go. He came out onto the course and he planted himself by the winning post during the parade, and for some time he wouldn't move at all. And he had his ears back and didn't seem to like the blinkers even when he was racing on the bit. But he's done nothing wrong today so far. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. He's got to go past the paddock turn twice, this being rather a tight track. They turn away from the stands twice. For the first time, as John Frankham said just a moment ago, is quite early in the race. The second time is just past the halfway stage. And so we'll want to keep our eyes very closely on him there. But he seems to be enjoying himself. He's never pulled himself up in a gallop at home. He's always been a little bit funny at the start, but at home he's never pulled himself up, and when he came back after the Gold Cup he was just as normal, and he's been away from home once and he behaved perfectly all right then. But it's anybody's guess what he'll do today. He is, of course, second favourite. If everyone knew that he would be on his best behaviour, he would be odds on and not 5-2 against. But nobody's too keen on putting their money on a horse that might stop. Number 5 is Royal Bond, who did worst of these 3 Gold Cup candidates in the Gold Cup itself, but he has got some very good form. He's won 9 times, 3 times in England, although he's always been Irish trained. He's come over to England for 3 wins, 2 at Ascot, 1 at Cheltenham. And he's run against Drumlargan, as well as in the Gold Cup. He's run against him twice in Ireland. At Leopardstown on December the 27th, they finished 4th and 6th behind Harveystown, and that was in a handicap, and Royal Bond was set to give £4, and Later on, he was set to give £2 to Drumlagen at Fairy House and finished 6.5 lengths behind him. So there isn't too much between them on their best form, though Drumlagen definitely has the better recent form. He sometimes has to come into the start at a bit of a trot. He can plant himself and then he has to be got on the move before he'll jump off. But until this season, he's never done anything wrong in the race itself. But the starters calling them in. Let's keep our eyes on Bregawn and all the others and join Peter O'Sullivan.
Walk up!
And this looks like it. They're away. Drumlagen 11 to 8 on now. Favourite punters really suffering this afternoon, and Drumlagen at absurdly skinny odds to come to the rescue. As he comes to this from Fred Pilliner, Bregawn and Royal Bond, who just nodded a little bit at that one. 18 fences in all in this Perrier Jouet Champagne Cup. Fred Pilliner on the far side of Drumlagen, then Bregawn and Royal Bond. Drumlagen on the near side of Fred Pilliner, then Bregawn, who'd, as John Hanmer said, would be odds on if it was known that he was going to behave himself. So they didn't put a foot wrong yet. They come to the water. Drumlagen from Fred Pilliner, Bregawn and Royal Bond. And Bregawn showing no signs of wishing to return from whence he came, the paddock exit. Continuing very sweetly behind Drumlagen, Fred Pilliner, Royal Bond almost upsides Bregawn. Frank Cod with a bit of a problem here, the rider of Drumlagen, as to whether to make it or not. He hasn't got a turn of foot like Bregawn, of course. All come to that Royal Bond if he happened to put his best foot forward. Quite a few imponderables in this race, because Royal Bond didn't seem to put it in at all at Cheltenham. But on his day, pretty useful horse. Lovely jump there by Bregawn, in behind the two leaders. As they come to the next, Drumlagen, and Fred Pilliner, Bregawn and Royal Bond. They're going pretty steady at the moment, all of them. Now the first of the ditches, this is number 6. Drumlagen, Fred Pilliner, Bregawn and Royal Bond. Will jump it well. Drumlagen, Mr. Frank Cod, and incidentally Corals bet 9 to 4 against an amateur winning the National tomorrow. They include Donald Hassett, John White, Roger Grand, Jim Wilson, William Mullins, John Quealy and Adrian Sharp, so quite a few of them. They're running down to the next now. Drumlagen. Screwed a little bit at that. Drumlagen. And Fred Pilliner, Royal Bond. And Bregawn going very well within himself at the moment. This is a ditch. Drumlagen. Fred Pilliner, Bregawn and Royal Bond. This is the fence, will be the second last on the next circuit. Drumlagen, Fred Pilliner, Royal Bond, and Bregawn as they run to the next. Drumlagen, Fred Pilliner, Royal Bond and Bregawn. And now to the water. Corals also bet, incidentally, 9 to 1 against a lady training the winner of the National. Mrs. Pittman, of course, represented by Corbier, Mercy Rival, by pilot officer. Drumlagen at the water from Royal Bond. Very big jump there by Drumlagen from Royal Bond. An Irish 1-2 at the moment. Fred Pilliner and Bregawn still going well within himself. Graham Bradley having a very much more enjoyable ride than he did at Cheltenham, where he was going back and forth and occasionally grabbing hold of his bit and taking a keen interest, then dropping it and saying, oh, no, hell with it. Drumlagen, from Fred Pelliner gone back into second, Royal Bond and Bregawn. Drumlargan, Royal Bond, Fred Pelliner, Bregawn. Asking Rods a 7-4 in the ring about the leader at the moment. Drumlargan, Royal Bond, Bregawn just not foot perfect at that one. Fred Pelliner on the outside, third now. This is the third open ditch. Drumlargan from Royal Bond. Drumlargan, Royal Bond, Fred Pelliner and Bregawn not very clever at that one. Swinging left-handed now. Drumlargan from Fred Pelliner, Royal Bond and Bregawn. Frank Cod from Tom Taaffe on the inside of Peter Scudamore and Graham Bradley back and forth. But Bregawn getting closer again now. Coming down to the final ditch in this Perrier Jouet Champagne Cup. And Drumlargan trying to break the hoodoo today on the favourites. Lands in the lead from Fred Pelliner, goes through the top there. Royal Bond on the inside. And Royal Bond going strongly on the inside too for Tom Taaffe. As they come to the second last, Drumlargan from Royal Bond jumps it second, Fred Pelliner third. Racing down to the final fence now in the Perrier Jouet Champagne Cup, and it's the two Irishmen. Drumlargan from Royal Bond at the final fence. Drumlargan goes, he's down, no, he's recovered, and it's Royal Bond to the far side, Drumlargan on the near side, but Royal Bond looks as though he's going to hold Drumlargan as they race into the closing stages. It's Royal Bond from Drumlargan renewing his challenge, but he's not going to get there, and at the line, Royal Bond wins it from Drumlargan, second and third Fred Pelliner, and fourth Bregawn, and that final fence error of Drumlargan, in which his rider Frank Cod lost his irons, made the difference between success and failure, but it was an Irish 1-2 in this Perrier Jouet Champagne Cup, in which the official result is verse number 5. Royal Bond, owned by Mrs. G. Malcolmson, trained by Arthur Moore, ridden by Tom Taaffe. Second was number 3, Drumlargan, owned by Mr. Michael Cuddy, trained by Edward O'Grady, ridden by Mr. Frank Cod. And third was number 4, Fred Pelliner, owned by Mr. Norman Johnson and Mr. LRF Payne, trained by Michael Scudamore and ridden by Peter Scudamore. Well, no doubt it was the last fence that was the determining factor here, but how well Royal Bond was still going, as we can see at the second last with Richard Pittman.
Well, this hadn't been any great gallop, but they certainly did sprint up the straight. Going from right to left, Royal Bond on the inside, Drumlargan, a nice jump there. He'd be jumping well all along, and Fred Pelliner back in third place. Bregawn, who behaved himself perfectly, had just dropped out at this stage. But going on to the last now, the odds-on favourite, Drumlargan, ridden by Frank Cod, you would think had taken the measure of Royal Bond and young Tom Taaffe. But just watch now as they meet the last obstacle. Frank Cod asks for a big one. Drumlargan changes his mind, steps at it, and Frank goes right up as far as the ears, loses his irons, but he's still in the plate. So now, having given the advantage to Royal Bond, he sets off in pursuit again, doesn't bother to wait to get his irons back, and really drives for the line. The Royal Bond, the chestnut there, trained by Arthur Moore, hasn't actually won a race since 81-82 season, when he won at Leopardstown and at Cheltenham. Fred Pelliner in third place, running on beautifully. That's a good run from him. Michael Scudamore trains him, but Drumlargan closing all the time, hanging in behind Royal Bond, but nevertheless still making ground as the winning post comes. That was a very good run, and I think it would have been a close affair, with Drumlargan possibly getting it had he jumped the last properly. He's an 11-2 shot, Royal Bond, getting his first win for a few seasons. He couldn't pull up the goal.
Tom Taaffe returning on this chestnut by Honor Bound. Been looking so big and well every morning I've seen him up here. Oh, his rival, who probably would have beaten him, I think, but for that last fence error. Was always the first horse out, and really expected to gain compensation for that Cheltenham defeat. But Arthur Moore there, whose father Dan rode Royal Danieli, in the National so many years ago, so narrowly beaten by Bruce Hobbs on Battleship. And the family, the Moore family, such a long and honourable association with this great race course. Arthur there must be delighted with this horse for coming back. He really didn't put his best foot forward at Cheltenham in the Gold Cup. He just sulked a bit. But Tom got him running today, got him enjoying himself, and he was going pretty well at the second last, irrespective of the fortune he enjoyed. Bregawn, incidentally, far from pulling up today, is even considering doing a lap of honour, and Graham hasn't pulled him up yet. He's already been round once, and I don't think Graham has made a tremendous effort to restrain him. He's just let him wear himself out, as it were, really. He said, well, if you want to go round again, carry on, old son. He's turned into a really funny horse, this one. He's totally unpredictable. Amazing, you know, to see a Hennessy winner and a Gold Cup winner become such an odd character. Still, he seems to have quite enjoyed himself. So there's Royal Bond. His man there told me that he had quite a good evening last night. Thought he'd have an early night tonight. I think he might be changing his mind now. Royal Bond, the winner of the Perrier Jouet, and the full starting price is as follows.
First, number 5, Royal Bond, 11-2. Second, number 3, Drumlagen, 11-8 on favourite. And third, number 4, Fred Pilliner, 16-1.
Record for